Hi, I'm Marie Camenares. Welcome to my art studio. Today I'd like to show you how to paint poppies. I'm going to be using a canvas panel of 11 by 14 and I'll be explaining what brushes and colors I'll be using for this. So I hope you'll join me and let's get painting. I'm going to be starting a light blue sky background, and for that I'm going to be using a number 8 brush and also ultramarine blue and titanium white. So I'm going to be mixing a little bit of both colors on the brush and then work it in to 2/3 of the canvas, and we're coming down to here, and then from the bottom 1/3 up and a little bit past the middle in a few wispy places we're going to be mixing a little bit of the cadmium yellow, ultramarine blue, a tiny touch of black, and titanium white for the grass. You'll need to have on hand a container with some clean water to wash your brushes out and some paper towel. So I'm going to dip my brush into the water just to get a little moistened, and then I'm going to put the ultramarine blue and also the white both on the brush at the same time, and I'm going to work that through in circular motions and also a little horizontal motion and a few little vertical motions as well. And I'm going to get the whole top 2/3 of this canvas done this way. I'm using a variety of brush strokes. I'm doing some horizontal, some circular, and some vertical, as you can see. And I think we've got some really good coverage here, so we can get on to the next step. I've taken some of my cadmium yellow and my ultramarine blue. I've mixed them together. Got a nice shade of green going on here. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it just to lighten it up just a little bit. There. I'm really liking that color. And I'm going to work this color from the bottom part of the canvas coming up. And this is going to be my grassy area. So I'll continue this until I get some good coverage here on the bottom. I'm doing short strokes as well to indicate blades of grass. But I'm kind of liking these two color combinations. So we'll move on to the next step. I think that is fine. When you've finished covering your sky and then your grassy area, you'd want to rinse out your brush and we'll get ready for the next step. This was a number 8 brush, and we're going to rinse that out. We may use it again for the next step. Now that our canvas is dry, we're going to move on to the next step, which is to block in where we'd like to put our flowers. Now, this is just putting in a general shape, and then we'll form the flowers from this later on. I have Brilliant Red, and I'm still using my number 8 brush, and I'm just putting a little bit of Brilliant Red on the brush, and I'm going to just put in some random shapes. I'm just moving the brush in a very free-form way. I'm just blocking in a little shape here. Blocking in another shape up here. And maybe another one over here. I like to always use an odd number. So we've got 4 blocked in shapes. Let's go for one more. And even 5. Maybe something right down in here. The next step I'm going to do is just build on these to start forming the flowers. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the cadmium yellow with that brilliant red. I'm having the 2 colors on the brush, and I'm going to start at the end and just push down. Start at the top and push down. Start here on the top, and I'm going to push down. I want to make sure that my brush strokes are really going towards the center where the stem of the flowers might be joining. I'll do a little bit over here. And a little bit here. And this little guy up here. And now I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to mix a little bit of white to it, and I'm going to just highlight some of these edges. As you can see, our flowers are really starting to take shape. So I'm going to rinse my brush out now, and I'm going to take a smaller brush. This is a size 4 flat brush, and I'm going to mix a little bit of black with a little bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm going to establish the center of the flowers, and I'll start to work on the depth of the flowers from there. So we'll put that in there. A little bit more. We'll make this one have the center there, and maybe this one over here. And however direction you put that center, that's how those flowers are going to face. Now I'm going to let this dry a little before I go to the next step. We're going to add some more shadows and we'll put in the stems. And you'll want to rinse your brushes off at this point. Let your canvas dry and we'll get ready for the next step. Okay, we're ready for the next step to put in the shadows and highlights on our flowers and maybe even define the petals a little bit better. So I do have my flat brush that you see here, and I'm going to mix a darker shade of red just to put a little bit of shadow down in here in the bottom part of my petals. So I'm going to mix a red with a tiny touch of blue. It's almost going to give it a purple color because red and blue makes purple. And it'll be a purpley red. And I'm going to add a little bit of shading down in here, as you can see. And a little down in here. A little bit down in here. A little bit more on my brush. And each one of them will get a little bit more shading into it. Something here and something here. And then just a touch for the depth. I'm going to come down in here a little bit with that darker color. And I'm going to come down into here a little bit. And this one too. And also on the other two poppies. Okay? So I'm going to put some more paint on my brush, the same blue and red mixed together to get that purpley kind of color. I would just want to do a little bit more down in here and a little bit more down in here. Up in here, down here, up in here, and down in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make the petals a little bit more distinct. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the red, the brilliant red color, with a little bit of my cadmium yellow. So I'm going to put these two colors together and mix them together on my palette to blend them to get almost an orangey type color. So that's what I'm doing here right now. I'll show you right here. I've got the red and the yellow mixed together. Got a nice bright kind of orange color here. And on one part of the brush, I'm taking the orange mixed color, and the other part of the brush, I'm just going to put a little bit of red. So I've got half and half on the brush, as you see here. And I'm going to start right here and just redefine this petal a little bit and just come down. And as you can see, I have covered a little bit of the black center, but that's okay, that's fine. I'm going to come down here a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put just a little bit of just the red on my brush. And I'm going to come up here and come down. And we know that the petals of poppies are very kind of ruffly. So I'm just going to come out a little bit like you see there. Do the same thing with the other poppies, alternating mixing some that have a little bit of yellow on it to make it kind of like an orangey color. And I'm just going to come and make it a little ruffly here and ruffly here and come on down. And as you notice, my strokes are always going down towards the center of where the part of the stem is going to pick up. So just make sure when you do that, that you come down in a stroke that's going to go towards the center. Don't worry about if you're going outside the lines of where you originally had the poppy. It's okay to do that. It's your artwork, and wherever you feel like you want that petal to be, you put it. So I'm going to take a little bit of straight yellow here, and I'm just going to come up here and kind of hit it almost like a little highlight and bring it down. So I'm redefining my petals. I'm also at times redefining my shapes. Come down towards the center. See how pretty that looks? Let the paint do its job for you. A little bit of red and yellow together on my brush, and I'm going to do that right here. And maybe I'll put another petal right in here. Why not? You can change things around. If you feel like you want to change it and make it a different way, you go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to do some of the back petals, and I'm taking a darker red. I'm taking a kind of purple red where I've mixed the blue and the red together with the regular red there, and I'm just going to go up here and come on down to the center. Come up here, come down to the center. And I'll do that again on a few more. Why don't we do this one up here? And this one in the back. And we have this one down here.
Yeah.
And this one here. And moving on here, maybe we want to extend this out. Doesn't that look so pretty? And we want to show a little bit of shadow, so again, mix the blue with the red to get that purpley color, and we can come here with that. Really gives it a nice shape and a nice form. And once again, the blue and the red together to get that purpley color. A little bit more form here and in here, and why not in here too? And now we can go back again. We can highlight with the yellow and with the red. We could mix our colors together to be like a nice kind of orangey color. And we can come in here and we can just define some of these petals a little bit better. You can really see how this is separate from that and how this one is separate. Put a little highlight here, this color. And we'll come into this petal in here, and we'll show how this front petal is going to go in front of this petal right here. And we'll do that with color. We'll just take our yellow, mix it again, come out with a brighter orange, and then just move the brush, wiggle it around. And it's okay if your poppies are growing and getting larger, that is fine. So we've really got some nice highlights. We've got some nice definition with the petals going on here. Here's one that we can certainly put in front of this petal. Do you see how that works? And then this one can come over here, and we can like really make some nice marks in there. This one needs a little work. We'll come in here and we're going to make this a defined petal by just coming down with a little bit of that yellow and red mixed together right in here. And there you go. And let's do a little bit more here, and then I'll show you putting the stems in. Okay, I think our poppies are ready for their stems. We're going to mix a little bit of the blue with the yellow to get a really nice color green going on. And we can mix in a little bit of white into that if you want it to be a lighter color green or a mossy green. And I've got a gray green going on here, and I'm going to start here right underneath this flower, and I'm going to put in the larger part of the stem where it attaches to the flower, and the same thing here, maybe something going on like this. And then this one can be right in here, coming down this way. This one right in here, coming down this way. And this one can go in here, coming down this way. And I'm going to build upon this and show you how nicely the stems and the leaves are going to come together. I've got my thinner brush for the stems. We're just going to reinforce where we put that before and come on down. And the same thing here. And in here. And we want to put a little bit of shading in there, and we can use the blue to do that actually. That makes the green a little bit darker. You can see how nice that looks. And in here as well. And then this one here. You can have the stems going in different directions. Makes it a little bit more interesting. And this one here is our last one. And then to put in the leaves, it's a very simple process. We can just take one of the stems, come on out for the leaves, and then just very small little strokes, put in something like this to give the indication of a leaf. It doesn't have to be exact. And you can have stems and leaves crossing each other as well. And maybe one more in here. Just giving just a little bit of an impressionistic style here for our feathery type leaves. And you can have fun with this, just play around with it. I hope that you've enjoyed painting poppies with me, and you'll be painting more pictures in the future together. Now, poppies also have the little top of the stamen that come on up, And you can take either blue or black. I like to stay away from using blacks and mixing different colors together to kind of get that effect. But with a small tiny brush, you can just put little tiny dots in there just to give the indication of that in the poppy. And there you go. There you have it. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay healthy, stay safe. Until next time, happy painting and be well. Bye-bye.